Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Kill, and this is going to be episode 2.5 of the Python tutorial for beginners. And we are going to have this intermittent episode between 2 and 3 because we're going to be using operators in a lot of our next sections. And so instead of moving on to the if and the else statements, we're going to pause and clarify some things. For instance, in the last video, I said that the plus sign, the minus sign, the division sign, let's just put them on there, were comparison operators, and that's not true. I don't know why I didn't catch this, but either way, these are actually called arithmetic operators, but people generally just call them operators for short. But to tell you that, like the actual full name, they are arithmetic operators. And so being as we actually are going to learn about real comparison operators soon and we have to use them, it's probably necessary that we pause and let me correct the record. So we're going to create a new file. We're going to call it episode 2.5. Boom. Okay, let's get this off of there. Close that. Get some more room. Okay, so episode 2.5. We're going to go over a few of the different kinds of operators. So, like I said, arithmetic. Did I spell that? Operators? Yeah. Wow. Okay. Arithmetic operators are the plus sign, uh, the minus sign, division sign. Let's see, what do we got? The multiplication sign, and we actually have a couple more. Uh, the modulo, which I mentioned this in the last episode, but we're going to go ahead and just run through these. Exponential operator, and we have floor division. So that is two of the back. Is that forward slash? I can't ever say this right. I don't know. I rationalize it like, well, it's forward slash because it's coming from the closest point. So this has got to be forward slash. Okay, either way, these symbols. And yeah, so we'll do an example of each, and then we'll move on to the next one. So this probably won't be a lot. This won't be as long as the other videos, but it's necessary to yeah, to get it down. Okay, so let's actually go back. So to really lay this out, we're going to print a couple things to the terminal. So we're going to say print that, and go ahead. Let me just do this. Not even using my own advice right now. Those of you who remember, there is a shortcut to doing that, commenting out a bunch of code, and you basically just do like this, and then you let off, and then you hold control and then forward slash, if that's what this symbol even is. But anyways, okay, copy this, and then control V. Okay, so print, and we're going to use the plus operator. So 3 plus 5, and we're going to print this. So what this is a print function. Whoop. And it has a condition inside of it, or an expression. It's the same thing in this scenario. So this is the expression, and it's 3 plus 5. So let's run it. Whoop. 8. Okay. And okay, so let's just go to the next one, and we'll do 5 minus 3, and we'll run that. It'll be 2 of them. Okay, so that's spitting out the value of 2. That's right. Good. Everything's rolling. And then we'll go to the division, and we'll say, let's just do 10. I don't even think you actually have to do the space divided by 2. I like to do the space just because just to be consistent with what I'm used to, I do the space. But yeah, either way, this all works about the same. Now you notice that this did spit out a float, so we'll come back to this, and then we'll do 5 times 2. Shift F10. It's going to be 10. Okay, and then we'll use the modulo. Modulo. Yeah. Okay, so 10 modular symbol and 3. So does anybody have a clue what this is going to spit out? Let's run it. 1. So how is it 1, right? That's what you're thinking, or that's what I'm thinking anyways. So what the modulo symbol, how do you say this? Modulus. I'm not even saying this right. Okay. Modulus. The way that this works is it puts 3, the second operand, which that's what these are called. This is the first operand. This is the second operand. It determines how many times the second operand can go into the first one. And so 3 can go into 10 3 times, and then the whole purpose of this though is it evaluates that in order to return the remaining value. So 3 goes into 10 3 times and it leaves 1. I haven't come across a specific use case for this. I'm sure they're littered all across the world, but as of right now, I'm not really using that, but that is how that works. Okay, so we'll go on to the exponential, and this is something that everyone would be familiar with. I know I said that we're gonna, yeah, let's just do it. It's 100. So it's 10 to the power of 2. This is just exponents, same stuff as we did in high school. And then this is sort of similar to this floor division is similar to the modulus, but it is different. So we will put in 10 \\3. Whoop. Let's run that. Okay. So basically what this says is how many times can 3 go into 10 and then return the integer of that, right? So 3 can go into 10 3 times and remain an integer. And if we remember what integers are, is int and then like 3. That's an integer. Whereas a float would be 2.9, right? And so the whole point of floor division is to put 2 operands together and return an integer. So again, I'm not really sure of the use case for this. I haven't come across it personally, but I do know that it is obviously important, and yeah, that's how that works. And all of these, we're printing this, and this whole thing is an expression, and that will be important, so keep that in mind. So let's do, can we just, everybody copy this down, whatever, we're going to erase it all. So that's arithmetic operators. Let's move on to the second one, and that's going to be comparison operators. Okay, so these are greater than, I'll just go ahead and do it right the first time, less than, and then we have equal to, then we have not equal to, and then we have, I should probably actually do this, greater than or equal to, and less than or equal to. And so the whole deal here is we're going to, I'm going to use my method I talked about, so there's that. But that does put them in between. That's okay. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so this is greater than. And so again, we're going to do this. We're going to run a print function. Go ahead and copy it. Copy, print, 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 and print. No, did it again. I'll see what I did. I see what I did. Okay, so let's give a space, space, space. Just kind of, make some room. Okay, so the greater than. This is very simple. We're gonna do. We're gonna use the same type of examples as we did in the last one. Now, what makes these different is an arithmetic operator, which was the plus and the minus and all that. It performs basic like mathematical calculations. Okay, but comparison operators compare two values and return a Boolean value. Okay, so we have, I don't know what I was doing with that. So it's going to compare 3 and 5, and it's going to basically say, is this true or is it false? And so that's why this is a comparison operator being used, but it's going to evaluate whether or not this condition is true. And so I'll show you what I mean by that. So print 3 is greater than 5. Oop, false. Okay, so the condition of this is false. That's the condition, because it's not true, right? And we'll go ahead and we'll do the next one like that. So what do you think this will be? So here we have an expression of 3 is less than 5. So again, comparison operators, they compare two values and return a Boolean. So what do you think the Boolean would be that's going to be returned from this? 3 is less than 5. It's true, right? It's true. So this condition is true because we're putting a condition inside here. That'll be important because these comparison operators are used like in conjunction with conditional statements and conditions and all of that. So it's very important that we took the time to go ahead and pause, just run through this whole thing, and it'll be fine. Okay. So let's move on. We have okay. So let's do 5 is greater than or equal to 6. So what do you think the Boolean value is going to be? It's false, obviously. But what if we... So, oh, well, let me explain that. So what this is saying is 5 is at least bigger than this number, if not equal to this number. So obviously it was 6, so the first part of this condition, because this sort of is a two-part condition, because it's saying it's greater than or equal to. Remember that or word, because later we're going to talk about logical operators, and that's where or and not come in. But that's for later. We'll get to that. So anyways, 5 is greater than or equal to 6. Well, that's false because it stops right here. Honestly, it immediately evaluates. Oh, it's not even bigger than 6. Of course, it's not equal to it. So again, it returns false. So what if we do 5? What would the Boolean value be? It would be true. Exactly, because it's saying it's either greater than or equal to. So even though it's not greater than, it is equal to. So if one of those conditions is true, then it evaluates as true. That's the or part of that. And like I said, or is a logical operator, but I don't know that I should go down that road just yet. Anyways, we will move on to let's say 67 is less than or equal to let's do 69. Okay, so what do you think this will be? Anybody? I guess it would be better if I was streaming and I say something like put it in the comments. I don't know, but I'm sort of just talking to myself here. 67 is less than or equal to 69. Yeah, it's not equal to it, but it is less than it. So it evaluates to true. What if we did 70, right? 70 is less than or equal to 69. That's false, obviously, because it's not equal to 69, and it's not less than it. I guess you would say, yeah, it's not less than it, but you could say it's equal to it because it has. It depends on what level you're using the phrase equal to. But either way, yeah, for this we'll be fine. So now this actually is equal to, and if you remember in our last video we talked about variables, and name is, let's just say, Bill, right? And so I talked about how this is an equal sign, but not in the traditional sense. We're not using this like we would an arithmetic operator, where we can, evaluate the value or whatever at the end of the statement. This is what's called an assignment operator, and we'll go over this. But anyways, it assigns this value to this variable name. That's what this is. This is an assignment value. Sorry about that. My nose is a little stopped up, so if I sound like that, that's why. But the double equal sign is a little bit different. And this actually means, is this, we'll do it like this, 5 is equal to 5. And so what it's saying is 5 equal to 5? Let's run it. True. And here I'll go ahead and blot these out. That way they'll stop running in the background. Yeah, we'll just get the one answer. Okay, so 5 is equal to 5. And another way of doing this would be like if we had, let's say we had, scoot this down. We had a value x equals 65, and we have y equals 65, and we have z equals 69. Okay, x, y, and z. We have three variables with these values. So let's say we did print x equal to y. And what we're doing here is we're saying print this expression and evaluate this condition and return whether or not it's true. So we're going to be getting back a Boolean value, but here we have the information, so we know. So x is equal to y. So let's see what that says. It's true. Let's do this again. Yeah, okay, so it's true because x is holding the value of 65, and so is y, right? Now, well, we'll pause right there. So x is equal to y, but is x equal to z? Let's see. False, okay, because z is equal to 69. It's holding the value of a higher number, so obviously it's not the same, right? Okay, so yeah, that's equal to, and then we'll right here, not equal to. We can expand upon this, so we can use our variables that we have there. X is not equal to y, and again, two equal signs means that you're trying to evaluate whether or not these are the same value, and then the opposite of that, not equal, is the exclamation point and the equal sign. So, I don't know how I did that. And you could think of it like, sometimes you'll see like a red exclamation mark when something's wrong. Yeah, so instead of is equals, we can just think of not equals, right? So print x is not equals to y. So what do you think the answer will be here? Because the expression it's saying is x is not equal to y. So let's see what it says. False. It is equal to y because they hold the same value. So this is saying it's not equal to y. So it's actually the opposite, right? Okay, so let's do a different one though. Let's do z. And we're doing x is not equal to z. So x is not equal to z. So what do you think this will return? True. Exactly, because x is 65, z is 69. Pretty simple, not too crazy. Yeah, I mean, and that's pretty good for comparison operators. Okay, so now that we have our arithmetic operators out of the way, and we know what they are, the plus sign, the minus sign, and all that, and we have our comparison operators out of the way, we are going to call it there, but I'll give you a sneak peek into the next episode. And what we're going to be going into is conditional statements, and we're going to be using the if statements. So things like if, well, elif, if I could do it, and else. And so the way that this works is we could do something like if, I'm going to go ahead and put our variables back up here. X is equal to 65. I think that's what it was. Y is equal to, yeah, let's do 65. And let's do Z is equal to 55. Okay. So now we have some variables there, and they're holding these integers. So we'll say if x is equal to y, and then you put a colon. So we're using an if statement. And so basically what's going on is we're creating a condition. So it's saying if this is true, then we're going to print, and we'll say this is true, right? Because the if statement, that's what it's specifically for. It executes code that is true. So if x is equal to y, then print this. So let's see if x is equal to y. It printed it, so that means yes it is, right? So let's see what happens if we try to use something that it's not. If x is equal to z, print this is true. It doesn't do anything, right? So that tells you right there that although it didn't say explicitly down here, it didn't print this out. It didn't run this code. So we know by default that this is not true. And so that's a little sneak peek into what's going to go on and how we might use the other things like the elif and the else. So if you think you know how this is going to work, I'd love to see it in the comments. Let me know what you think. And yeah, I hope this little clarification mid-episode thing is going to be, it's going to do what I intend it to do. I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.